Prince William and Duchess Kate released their annual holiday card as Kate hosts a Christmas concert.
They want everybody to see that they're a very, very ordinary couple, just living a very extraordinary role.
And how Queen Elizabeth is coping after heartbreak, and William and Kate are looking to start fresh in the new year as they plan on taking on more responsibilities in 2022.
They both enjoy meeting people, and I feel that Kate has actually really stepped up to the mark and is really showing how much you genuinely care. So we're going to see some vast changes taking place.
And author of Diana, the Voice of Change, Stuart Pearce, is today's guest host as he goes inside the royal Christmas, from how the Queen will honor Prince Philip to how they will connect with Harry and Meghan. We've got that plus so much more in today's Royally Us. Hello to our fellow royal lovers. I'm Christina, and I'm so excited because this week we have a very special co-host, one of our friends from Royally Us, Princess Diana's former vocal coach and author of Diana, the Voice of Change, Stuart Pearce. Stuart, welcome to Royally Us. I'm so excited to have you here with us this week.
Oh, bless you. It's always such a pleasure being here.
Yeah.
Being with you all. You're all, and particularly yourself, you're just so charming. So I really feel welcomed and appreciated and all those wonderful things that we all want to feel.
Definitely. Well, I feel the exact same way about you. And I'm so excited that we are going to break down everything that the royal family has been up to this week. And then we're going to talk about the Christmas holiday that they are going to be celebrating soon, just like so many of us. But you have some really interesting fun facts and exactly how it's all going to be going down. So definitely stay tuned for that. It's going to be really fun. But before we get to all of that, let's run down and see what some of the viewers from last week's show had to say. Kicking it off with Mark says, I didn't realize just how proactive Prince William is when it comes to mental health. It is amazing how much time he dedicates to these charities and how much money he raises for them. Last year alone, he personally raised 20 million and gave it all to various charities. And that doesn't include the money he raised just by attending the charity events. Yeah, I think that people don't really realize just how invested in mental health work he really is.
It's huge, absolutely huge. And in fact, to be absolutely honest, I have a feeling that 20 million is a very conservative estimate. I think it's much more than that, but probably what Mark's referring to is that that's the money that's gone to one particular charity or one particular concern. Yeah, you see, I mean, Harry led the way, really, with because they were both held within this bond of grief for many, many years for very, very understandable reasons. But as they grew as men, and then as they became husbands, their wives, or lovers at least, their wives decided, you really need to do something about this short temper, or this anger, or this impatience, or this frustration, or the fact that at times you seem very heavy, with holding the grief. And so they both move through into this really fascinating pathway, which is so germane or relevant to where we are at this time. I think it's absolutely amazing and very brave, because they're following the suit of their mother, of course, but because she was so transparent and emotionally honest, which, as we know, wasn't necessarily the status quo of the British royal family at that time.
Very, very true. All right, moving on to June says, for everyone expecting these two to make it nice, it ain't happening, and that's okay. One of them will be the next King of England, and the other one will be happy. Get over it. This is, of course, talking about the long-standing rumors of this feud between Harry and William. There's 1 week they're talking, 1 week they're not. So, I mean, what's the latest that you heard about these two?
Well, I'm afraid that the entire rift scenario is something that was blown out of all proportion by the British press and by a certain area of the British press. The two gentlemen that we're talking about, because they are gentlemen, they are not bound by a rift. They had a disagreement, like all siblings do, a minor disagreement. And of course, with the development of their own specific responsibilities in relation to their own wives, their families, and also to the area of interest or responsibility that they've taken over, they've just moved in slightly different directions from how they used to be when they were the cavalier, happy-go-lucky, very smiley, immensely jokey, competitive Wills and Harry.
Yeah.
Very simple.
just just a part of life, you know, you kind of drift off and kind of go in different directions, and that's okay. Lastly, the Natser says, I wonder who will be in the Queen's Christmas pictures this year. Any predictions, Stuart?
In the Queen's Christmas pictures.
Yes, you know how it's all like how she has photos behind her when she does her speech of the
Oh, yes,
family.
yes,
So
yes,
any
yes, 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 yes.
predictions?
Well, of course, I mean, you can imagine her Madge is immensely judicious. And you know, everybody that is actually seen during the Christmas message in one year is then taken away, and another group of people come in, and another group of people, apart from the stalwarts. I mean, obviously, Prince Philip is going to be there in, you know, in the former position of the tragic loss of him, you know, and the wonderful celebration of the 70 odd years that they spent together, which was absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have to wait and see a couple more weeks till we find out. And like I said, before Stuart's going to run down all the festivities that are going to go on this holiday season for the royal family. But before we get to all that, let's get to our royal roundup and kick it off with the royal Christmas cards. This is something that we look forward to every single year, and both Prince William and Duchess Kate and Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall released their annual photographs. What did you think of Kate and William's?
Oh, I thought it was wonderful. Yeah, and again, in the true spirit of the fact that they're wishing to be transparent, and they wish to be, you know, the hierarchy or the hegemony of the people. You know, they want everybody to see that they're a very, very ordinary couple, just living a very extraordinary role in preparation for whatever will happen when the lamentable thing takes place, when Her Majesty passes over. Which I pray is not just yet, but you know, obviously she is quite aged and hasn't been well recently. I thought it was wonderful, and they had this fantastic secret trip to Jordan, and specifically to the shrines of St. Catherine and to Petra. I thought that was absolutely wonderful. What an amazing thing to do with the children. And of course, it was also to do with the fact that Kate spent so much time, well, she spent 3 years there as a child. Okay. You know, her father was actually posted through the British Airways, for whom he worked, to a consulate or some form of British Airways officialdom in Oman. And so they spent a lot of time in Jordan, and she had the most amazing time, you know. So she wanted to show the children, and this was the first opportunity. The photograph was a really cool photograph, and I love the touchy-feely nature of it, you know, because again, it's what we people do in our families for special shots. The fact that he was wearing shorts, well, obviously it was very hot,
right?
So why wouldn't he be wearing shorts? Which I suppose is unusual to see for a King of England, or future King of England. But at the same time, it's all to do with this immense pedestrianizing of the nature of the formality of royalty, which is, of course, what Diana did initially as well.
Yeah, no, I loved the little, you know, Kate had her hand on his knee showing a little PDA, you know, like I like the shorts are kind of loosening up a little bit. So I love that. I love the color scheme too. I thought they all looked amazing, and the kids are getting so big. It's crazy. You blink and then, you know, they're like 6, 7, 8 years old. It's crazy. And then we also saw Charles and Camilla's photo as well, which was a kind of funny and kind of representing of the times, you know, all still wearing our masks and still in the midst of this pandemic, and it was kind of a nod to what's been going on in the world.
Yeah, and in fact, I live in a certain area of London, because here I'm in London today, where the royal family constantly pass through in their cars, you know, and we hear it immediately because there are motorcycle police that create this amazing strategy, and they always use whistles and for some reason the traffic always hears the whistles, and then they cordon off, you know, they move very fast ahead, and there the 2 cars whiz by, obviously surrounded by two other police cars, but they were all wearing masks. So I feel that this is the wonderful due diligence and level of dutiful responsibility that the British royal family bring in support of the challenging times that we're living in now with the Omicron virus or strand of virus.
Yeah, it's a scary time still. It's
one of the things, just harping back to the question that we were just talking about, I have a feeling that Her Madge will have lots of photographs of the great-grandchildren. I feel that's what it's going to be, you know, because she's really feeling the stimulation of future promise. And of course, the little ones are what she loves to concentrate on. She's an amazing grandmama.
It really seems like it. And she's got so many. I don't know how she keeps track. So she's got like 12 great grandkids. It's a lot to keep up with.
She has an extraordinary memory. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen her for many, many years, and I was invited to a state occasion several years ago, and she remembered me. And I mean, my father worked in royal service, but has been actually dead for many, many years, since the mid-70s. But she remembered me immediately, and she remembered my father.
That's amazing.
And was very moved in the memory. It wasn't sort of some distant recollection. She was absolutely present. Queen Elizabeth has the most extraordinary memory and these brilliant blue eyes that see right into you. Yeah, she's capacious.
Talking about the holiday season a little bit more, Duchess Kate hosted this beautiful event together at Christmas, a community carol service at Westminster Abbey. And it looked like a really, really nice event. A lot of people came out to celebrate. And this was one of her big hosting duties, right?
Yeah. I mean, she was there obviously to as the surrogate queen, interestingly, because Queen Elizabeth decided that she was too weak and feeling, really affected by this back sprain that she had still. So she obviously just simply needs to take time, and said immediately to Kate, would you do it? Well, I thought Kate and William did the most amazing job. And of course, there were other members of the family there to support. Zara Phillips was there, and of course Beatrice and Eugenie were there as well with their respective husbands, and I think Zara took one of her children along. So yeah, I mean, surrounded by all of these extraordinary people that have been heroic and brave all the way through the process of what COVID has been about, which effectively is now almost 2 years. Yeah. And so, it's almost as though this is the ending, we hope, of a period of something which is rather similar to the nature of heroism that is expressed in times of great distress from a national point of view, indeed on this occasion from an international point of view, the very first time that a global pandemic has affected in this way. So yeah, wonderful opportunity. I'm looking forward to seeing it on TV on Christmas Eve, because although we've seen photographs, there are some really touching moments that I hear from one or two people who were in attendance.
I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful event and a nice way to celebrate the holiday season and to celebrate, all the people that have, given their lives, given their time, and to help during this pandemic. So definitely something to tune into. But let's move on and spill the royal tea. And there have been some reports about how Queen Elizabeth is coping after the death of her beloved husband, Prince Philip. A lot of People magazine is reporting that, she's very good at compartmentalizing her emotions. And like you said, that she has a very sharp memory. She's still on top of things, but it has to be a very difficult time for her, especially this time of year too, with the holidays coming up, her first Christmas without Prince Philip.
Yeah, I'm sure she's very, very deeply touched in her private moments.
Yes.
And this is the extraordinary psychology about these people that we're referring to, these royal personages, because duty comes first. And we see it so particularly with Queen Elizabeth. Duty comes first. And so it's always about, how do I need to prepare myself for the people, not what am I going through personally. And that doesn't mean to say that she suppresses the way that she feels, but she's very private about that level of expression, and then gets on with the job. And so I feel that level of valiance, that level of endurance, that level of fortitude, and that level of emotional power is something that can illuminate the conviction of all our lives, particularly at this time of soon to be Christmas, the season of peace and goodwill. So yeah, there will be moments, and there are special moments. I don't know if you want me to refer to one special moment that I've heard about. I understand that one or two members of the family have actually organized within the broader extended nature of the family, those people that are going to be present on Christmas Eve, because Christmas Eve is a very important festival for the British royal family. That's when they actually open their presents.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that when presents have been opened and dinner has been received, that a number of them are actually going to be doing skits on the substance of, those pinnacle moments of Prince Philip's life. So that's going to be very amusing.
I love that. I think that's fantastic. And we're also getting some reporting with the holidays fast approaching that they're also, of course, looking forward to 2022. And we hear that Kate and William are definitely going to have a lot on their plate in the new year, with a source telling us weekly that they are looking forward to starting fresh in the new year, and that we're going to be seeing a lot of transition of responsibility. They're taking on additional charity work, attending more events, making more appearances, and definitely there's some royal tours in the works as well. And they're going to be heavily involved in the Platinum Jubilee. I mean, is that just the natural thing that's going to happen? You're going to see William and Kate out and about a lot more, taking on more responsibilities in the new year?
Oh, unquestionably, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we haven't seen anything yet.
Right. Yes.
And incrementally, there will be very gentle and highly appropriate changes,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily changes to the royal protocol. We've already begun to see their affability, their congeniality, and their easiness with people. So there's less of the slightly distant or removed or aloof countenance that we've seen maybe in former years. They both enjoy meeting people, and I feel that Kate has actually really stepped up to the mark, and is really showing how much she genuinely cares. So we're going to see some vast changes taking place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the moving face of monarchy at the moment. It really is quite extraordinary.
Yeah, definitely going to be a big year. And then Kate turns 40 next year too, as William does as well. So it's going to be a big year for the two of them.
Yeah, they're going to do a lot of celebration, both public and private. And
Mm-hmm.
I know we're talking about one particular area of celebration later, but we're going to see some very unusual trips that are going to be taking place just to celebrate this wonderful Capricornian Duchess that we have.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, we've been teasing it all show long. So let's break down these royal rules. And I know, Stuart, you're going to give us a rundown of exactly how the royal family is going to be celebrating this holiday season. So first off, they are actually, because last year with the COVID virus and everything, everybody kind of hunkered down at their own private residences. Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip were at Windsor Castle, but now things are getting a little bit more back to more normal, and they are heading back to Sandringham, right?
Yeah, I mean, Sandringham is really, although Sandringham and Balmoral, but Balmoral is always considered to be better in the summertime because it is rather bleak and windy and wet during the winter. But Sandringham has always been known as a point of heritage or tradition within the family, as a very sacred place for them all to meet. And this really goes all the way back to the Queen's great-great-grandfather, who first acquired it at the middle part, the end of the 19th century. And the house has received considerable renovation over the years. And so they're very, very happy to be there. I mean, I remember when I was a child, it had very few bedrooms. So in fact, the whole of the family could not be accommodated. But that's been changed, obviously. And there is a particular area, which is like an annex, only 2 miles away from the great house itself, called Wood Farm. And that was, for example, where Prince Philip would always annex himself, would always find, a time to be able to move away from all of the pressures that are there. Even if it may sound rather nice to have a number of servants around, particularly footmen, but actually it's really good to get away and just simply make your own toast, make your own tea or coffee or whatever you want to enjoy for breakfast. And so they'll be spending special time there in memory of Prince Philip.
And they're also going to be planting some things in remembrance of Prince Philip as well, right?
This is what I've been told. Yes, unfortunately, I can't reveal the source, but the source is very privy to the entire substance of what we're talking about, this wonderful family. And the Queen is very fervent about planting trees. And so in Buckingham Palace grounds, there are trees that have been strategically positioned to commemorate certain birthdays. For example, all of the children have their own trees, etc., etc. And Prince Philip was a renowned tree planter, and in fact was able to restore, he was steward of the great park of Windsor that's associated with Windsor, Windsor Castle, which goes back, of course, through the centuries for time immemorial, so to speak.
Mhm.
And there was one particular plantation that he was involved in about 40 years ago, where he planted a series of oak trees, and oaks that were representative of the Commonwealth, so oaks from all over the world.
Mhm.
And as a result of that virtue, I believe that what the Queen is intending is to plant near Wood Farm. Interesting that it's called Wood Farm. She's going to be planting 3 oak trees in commemoration of her late husband,
I love
and that he would really enjoy, I know.
Oh, I love that. I think that's so fantastic. And you mentioned before that after Christmas Eve, when they open up their gifts, they're going to be performing some skits, which I think is fantastic too.
Oh, it's there. There's a lot of laughter, believe you me, and some
Mhm.
of it can be quite ribald. Some of it can be quite naughty. So
Mhm.
lots of comedy sketches, yeah, and people playing charades and putting on funny hats and interesting, very quick costume changes.
Mhm.
It's going to be fun. And then
I
on the day after Christmas, of course, everybody settles down and starts doing what we all do, which is to snooze in front of the TV. Or in their case, they have a little cinema, so they'll be watching some extraordinary Walt Disney movie for the kids, et cetera, et cetera.
I love that. I love that. They're just like us, probably just want to stay in their pajamas all day long and just watch movies on Christmas Day, which I think is great. And then, of course, everybody is wondering, are Harry and Meghan coming to Christmas this year? It doesn't seem like it at this point, because I think the Queen actually advised them to stay home, right?
Yeah, and also I understand that the little babe has not been that well.
Okay.
I mean, nothing serious, just purely and simple infantile eczema and
Mhm.
a few issues like that. Nothing, this is all rumor. I haven't heard precisely. But as a result of that, they were just rather cautious about traveling. And also, Meghan has been able to once again win this very difficult libelous court case that was going on in the British courts. And she has gained reparation for that, which is really wonderful. So the newspapers that were being particularly vitriolic are no longer going to be so
Mhm.
by writ of law. And of course, next year in June, the celebration for the platinum anniversary is going to be so vast that it's really going to require their attendance for quite some time.
Mhm.
So I believe that that's what's happening. But of course, today, as we know, although we've all got used to not having hugs from our dear ones, the point is that we live on Zoom, we live on our cellular devices or our tablets, whatever. So do they. So I mean, for example, the Queen and Harry are constantly chatting over Zoom.
Mhm. How,
The
how
two boys talk every day virtually.
Oh, William and Harry talk every day virtually?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? See
Oh yeah.
that, and I think that would be so interesting to people because, like I said before, there's always all these rumors that they're not speaking at all, but it's great to hear that they are in constant communication. And is it just like
Yeah.
brief check-ins just to see how everybody's doing?
Well, yeah, as we do, the interesting thing is that they have this way of being able to be very diverse, that they have a public life and they have their private life. So, of course, the public life takes over a great deal of energy, a
Mhm.
great deal of adherence to the pursuit of what they have to engage in, because you can just imagine that after you've actually shaken the hands of 90 people at a particular event, the last thing you really want to do is to start being merry and chat away with somebody. In other words, what I'm really saying is you just need recovery.
Right.
So it's go home, have a shower, have a wonderful dinner, and just relax in front of TV, or late at night, look at the next, the paper work for the next day, whatever protocol's about.
Mhm.
But in those informal moments, and of course, we have to remind ourselves that Harry is 8 hours behind his brother in the United Kingdom. And so whenever they have an opportunity, which is towards the latter part of the day, a text is sent on WhatsApp. Are you up for a chat? And then they have a quick chat, even if it's just touch base. How's everything? Everything right?
Yeah.
By the way, did you really recover from that sprained ankle? I think you were doing a little bit too much when because they're both very sportive.
Yes. Now, is the relationship, do you know if the relationship with Charles has gotten any better between Charles and Harry?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. It's just their style of managing that level of emotional intensity is completely different.
Right.
Prince Charles is by nature a very shy man
Mhm.
and likes to aloof himself. That doesn't mean to say he's uncaring. He just finds demonstration or emotional display. It just finds it really difficult. I don't mean in the sense of the emotional display would be histrionic and superficial. Just
Mhm.
simply, if somebody is emoting, he's such an empath himself, it automatically, he just closes down. Whereas Harry and William tend to be more forthcoming.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he just became aloof and eschewed what was taking place. I don't believe that the reference that Harry made was a huge disaster area when he was being interviewed by Oprah. It was just one small thing where he felt that he wanted more support. And, we all feel that at times, don't we? We don't realize often that the person that we want support from is extraordinarily busy because
Mhm.
we're involved in our own particular preoccupation, particularly when we're wrought emotionally. We feel, well, why aren't you talking to me? And actually, it's just simply to do with the fact that they're really busy.
Right. Yeah.
It leads to the fact that we just need to be as honest as possible. It's something that I call a carefrontation. We need to confront ourselves and be caring and gracious about it.
Definitely. Couldn't agree with you more. Now, is the Queen going to set aside a certain time for Harry and Meghan to zoom in on Christmas? And will they be zooming in with everybody? Or is it going to be like little private moments, if you know?
That I don't know, but I would imagine because both Harry and Meghan are extremely extrovert people,
Mhm.
they will be really interested in sharing their Christmas in Los Angeles and also being part of the Sandringham Christmas. I mean, I know that Meghan really enjoyed her time at Sandringham. And of course, she was very privileged because it was the first time that a fiancé of a member of the royal family was actually invited for Christmas. That was not something that is usually done.
Right.
So that's a huge leeway, isn't it? A huge access point for Her Maj to draw Meghan in. And from all that I know, even from the horse's mouth, I know that they're liked and loved and appreciated very fully.
Mhm. Are there plans for William and Kate to visit Harry and Meghan potentially?
Yeah, well, that's what I heard, absolutely, and particularly around the middle part of January to celebrate the wonder of being 40, Kate's
Mhm.
40th birthday, and for the children to meet one another and be friendly and do all sorts of wonderful family things, particularly in that location, which is just so easy to access the beach
Yeah.
and to go for wonderful cycle rides without being too disturbed by the paparazzi or by people who are overeager in wanting to meet.
No, definitely.
But I feel it's going to be just as well managed, just as well stage managed as the recent Cambridge trip to Jordan, which
Yeah.
very few people knew about. That
Mhm.
was wonderfully well done. You see, it can be done.
It can be done. Yes, I feel like this would definitely be a secret, a secret trip because the paparazzi and the media would have a frenzy with this one. All right. Well, before we wrap up, we have to check in on our royal kids, and we have some reporting, and I know you have some reporting as well about how little Lilibet is doing. I can't believe she's 6 months old. A source told us weekly that she is a sweet-natured baby and that she is an absolute joy to be around. I still can't believe we haven't seen a photo of her, though. I want a photo. I want to see what this little one looks like.
Yes, it's interesting, isn't it, that we haven't. And so it builds up anticipation. There's a strategy being involved, obviously. And I feel we just need to respect what their own strategy is. But it is also, although, obviously they're both aware that the whole world wants to see what their child looks like, what both babes look like. But at the same time, it's just protecting energy. I understand that they're both very sensitive children, like many of the children that are being born today, that there's a great deal of energetic sensitivity. So they become very quickly disturbed by flashing cameras or by heavy noise pollution. So I think that's probably what they're trying to do. They're very healthy children. They're very well, but they're just being protected by mummy and daddy. And also, it's been a very difficult ride, rather, for Harry and Meghan over the last 2.5 years, hasn't it?
Yes.
Because damned as you do or damned as you don't, whatever they do, they've been disappreciated. And so I feel that they're just trying to hunker down and to really establish their own personal boundaries. At the same time, educating whichever institution needs to be educated to, let's be a little bit more respectful of energetic boundaries. And I'm sure that that's what it's all about, particularly enrapturing the nature of the children's innocence.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot to juggle. They have a lot going on and they're doing it well. And like you said, we have to respect their privacy and exactly how they want to do, how they want to raise their kids and how they want to show their kids to the public is totally on them. Stuart, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to congratulate you on such a wonderful year, and congratulations on the book, Diana, The Voice of Change. And I know you have a big 2022 planned as well. I know you're writing another book, right?
I am indeed, yes, a very exciting book. You know, there are lots of people who are really intimate with Diana who have not given interviews, and I found two of them. One of them is, for example, the priest who spent 6 hours with her during, you know, the last hours of her seeming life on planet Earth before she was sealed within the casket. That's quite an extraordinary story. So the book is dedicated to the legacy of Diana. Again, just going deep into some of the causative issues of Diana's life so that we really fully understand from a biographic point of view of not just simply what she did, but who she was.
It sounds fascinating and I can't wait to read it, and I wish you good luck writing it. And I can't wait for us to sit down and chat about it when it comes out. But I'm sure we're going to talk plenty of times before that as well, because it is always an absolute pleasure having you on the show and having you as a friend of the show as well.
Well, thank you. It's a great pleasure and a great honor. So I really want to thank you for that. You're always so charming, and it's gorgeous spending time with you and, you know, riffing in the way that we're riffing about this extraordinary family and taking the positive and the celebratory aspects of these people's personalities, but also in respect of their role.
Definitely.
Which is wonderful. I really appreciate you doing that.
Well, thank you so much. And I really appreciate you taking the time, and thank you everybody for watching. Keep commenting, keep subscribing, pick up Stuart's book, Diana, The Voice of Change right now if you haven't already, because it's absolutely fantastic. There it is. Get your hands on it. Stuart, I wish you and your family a wonderful holiday season. And thank you so much again for taking the time.
Bless you. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.